Welcome to our our Monday night edition, February 6th. Before we start tonight's meeting, we'll have a prayer led by Councilwoman Carrie Carroll, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Jefferson City has lost two exceptional women, Mary Ann Kaplinger and Juanita Donahue, both who have spent considerable amount of time here in these council chambers. Mary Ann, with her love of preserving our community's history, and Juanita, who turned her vision into a gem in the Central East End. As we mourn the loss of Mary Ann and Juanita, we pray for peace for their families, and we thank them for the legacy they both leave in our city. Almighty everlasting God, the protector of all those who put their trust in thee, as we prepare to vote tomorrow, we are thankful for the opportunity to make a difference in our city's future. We are thankful for those who have volunteered their efforts to help us have a bright new day in transforming our city and for future generations. Let us mostly remember those who gave us the freedom to choose our leaders and those in the military who maintain the freedoms we enjoy. God bless America, guard her children, guide her leaders, and give her peace. For Jesus Christ's sake, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Once again, welcome to City Hall. I see that we have, first we'll have a roll call, please.
Bray.
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
Harvey.
Here.
Kuhn.
Here.
Lubert.
Here.
Hope.
Here.
Schulte.
Here.
Scribner.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum tonight. I see that we have a scout in the room. Would you like to tell us who you are and what badge you might be working on this evening? Why don't you come up here to the podium, please? We don't have a microphone back there for you. Why don't you tell me what troop you're with and what badge you're working on this evening?
I'm with Troop 4. I'm working on my communications merit badge.
Cool. Is there a city administrator badge out there? I'm just teasing.
I don't know.
All right. What school is Troop 4?
I'm St. Peter's.
All right. Well, thanks for coming tonight. We appreciate you showing your efforts to get your badge here in our City Hall. Next, we'll have miscellaneous agenda items. I'll introduce Chief Schrader, who I think has a new employee for us this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like Teresa to stand. Last week, as you know, the council accepted your recommendation and voted to approve Teresa's employment with the police department as a evidence technician, property control person. She was out of state and couldn't attend, so she was asked to be here so she could, the council could meet her, the council. Real quickly, as you recall, she is originally from Kansas City. She has a degree, a bachelor's degree in forensic science, and she's post-licensed in the state of Missouri and has spent the last 4 years as a deputy sheriff with Callaway County, and some of her responsibilities included property management. So we're very fortunate to have Teresa with us, particularly with her resume. It's hard to find people with that particular expertise. Thank you.
On behalf of the City of Jefferson, welcome to the force. We're very proud of our public safety departments here, so welcome. Next we have, under public hearings, we'll have a public hearing tonight discussing our potential new city ward boundaries, and for that we'll call on Janice McMillan.
Thank you, Mayor. Following each decennial census of population, most Missouri cities follow the leads of Congress and the state legislature by redistricting so that the populations within the wards are balanced. The ward boundaries that are adopted this year will shape the wards that will be in place for the next 10 years. The legal considerations or principles that we go by are contained in the U.S. Constitution, the 14th Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause, the 15th Amendment, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and the principle of one person, one vote. There's also a section in the city charter pertaining to council wards. It defines that there should be 5 council wards, bounded and numbered the same as the wards which exist at the time of the adoption of the charter, and the ward boundaries are established by ordinance following each decennial census. Wards shall comprise compact and contiguous territory and shall contain as nearly as possible an equal number of inhabitants. The U.S. Census produces data for what they call Public Law 94-171, which is a series of population statistics. Gives us total population, population by age, voting age population, population in group quarters, racial composition, and that's used for redistricting in all jurisdictions. We also look at impact of other districts that will be changing their boundaries, such as state legislative districts and county commission. The assumptions that we used for redistricting our ward boundaries, we used the theory of trying to equalize the population within each ward, compact and contiguous districts, preserving neighborhood integrity, minimizing disruption of existing wards. We also consider the impact on minority populations, anticipate growth in future annexations, and utilize major features as boundaries as much as possible so that it's an easily understood and communicated boundary. The ward population in 2000 compared with the growth in those wards compared in 2010 and our target population, you'll see the 2000 population is shown in the dark gray color. The 2010 population by ward is shown in the light blue color, and in the greenish color is our target population. Our target population was 7,926 persons in each ward. We considered or produced this first map, option 1, with the assistance of our GIS division, and it basically had the goal of equalizing the populations within the wards, which it did very well. Unfortunately, it moved some neighborhoods around that were traditionally in Ward 2, such as downtown. So the decision was made by the council committee of the full council to try to retain downtown in Ward 2. This particular option 1 moved downtown into Ward 1. Option 2, which was the map that was selected by the council to publish and make public for public comment, did retain downtown in Ward 2, but it does move some of the other boundaries to, for example, the boundary between Ward 2 and Ward 5 become Jackson Street for the full length. The boundary between Ward 1 and Ward 5, while it follows the expressway currently, it's moved down to Dunklin Street and then over to Houchin Street. And then the biggest changes between Wards 5 and Ward 4, because Ward 4 has seen the most growth over the past decade due to annexations and new subdivisions. That boundary line moved significantly to the west, basically following Southwest Boulevard, Cedar Hill Road, and Overlook Drive to Route C, and then down Idlewood Road. So this was the map that was made public that we collected the comment on and published on the web page. This slide shows the statistics between options 1 and 2. The column on the right of option 1 shows you how very evenly balanced those wards 1 were, but it created some situations that the council felt was not ideal. So option 2 also presents a very equalized population between the wards, and so this is the option that's being recommended for adoption. We did have a public involvement component. The council had a meeting on June 27th when data and geography and considerations were looked at. We waited until January to move forward on publishing an option, and that was published in January, the option 2. Published that on the city web pages. We had 4 open houses that were set up to collect comment, and we also had a display in City Hall. The public comment that was generated was produced and is included in your packet. We did receive 2 only 2 comments from individuals at the public, at the open houses. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the council for Janice before we move on? Robert?
If we adopt this, when will it be effective, Janice?
It's on the schedule to be voted on February 20th. We'll collect any additional public comment tonight at the public hearing. Then in February 20th, you can vote to modify or adopt this particular plan. And then upon the mayor's signature, it would become effective.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions of Janice from the council? Okay, seeing none. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment about these proposed city ward boundary changes this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on, and we'll be voting on that in 2 weeks, correct?
That's correct.
All right, thank you, Janice, for all your hard work on that project. I know that's a big project to take on. The following minutes and reports have been received here at City Hall. Campo Board of Directors, our Housing Authority Board of Commissioners, Public Works and Planning Committee, the Planning and Zoning Commission, the City Council Committee on Administration, the Historic Preservation Commission, the Board of Electrical Examiners and Review, Environmental Quality Commission, Public Safety Committee, the Cultural Arts Commission, and the 2011 Affirmative Action Plan is on file here at our city clerk's office here at City Hall. If you'd like to be on one of those boards or commissions, Gail, could you tell the public how they could get in contact to do that?
Yes, if they'd like to serve on any of the boards or commissions, they can look on our website for the volunteer application form. The website is www.jeffcitymo.org, or they can call us at City Hall, and we'd be happy to send a form to them. Our phone number is 634-6309.
All right, thank you, Gail. Moving on to council committee reports. Tonight we'll have a administration committee report from Councilwoman Carrie Carroll.
Thank you. The Administration Committee will meet this week on Wednesday, February 8th at 8 a.m., and we'll discuss the public art policy and appointments. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Moving on, Finance Committee, which is chaired by Councilman Rich Kuhn.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee will meet on February the 16th, immediately following the morning Mayor's pre-meeting.
You call it something different every 2 weeks. Next, Public Safety Committee, which is chaired by Councilman Mike Harvey.
Thank you, Mayor. The committee met last week. 2 of the items that were discussed at that meeting was a proposed ordinance pertaining to after-hours licensing, business licensing. We also got an update on the completion of the surveillance camera system at the police department. And our next public safety meeting will be held on March 1st, approximately 8 a.m. across the hall. That's a Thursday.
All right. Anything else, Mike? All right. Thank you, sir. Moving on, Public Works and Planning, Councilman Bob Scrivener.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next meeting will be Thursday, February 23rd at 7:30 a.m. across the hall. The last committee meeting was January the 19th. 3 items that we discussed will be on as bills introduced tonight that were passed on by the committee. That'd be neighborhood improvement program revisions, agreement for sidewalk service termination, and sidewalk deferrals. We also got a report on detention basins and the status of those basins in the community, and a discussion on updating the building codes for Jefferson City, and a list of yearly milling and overlay project status update from Britt Smith. So kind of a busy committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Scrivener. Any other liaison reports tonight from other members of the council? Seeing none, we'll move into presentations from staff, consultants, and invited guests. Tonight we have a recycling report from Laura Hershey. Lauren, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Our recycling programs have come a long way in the last year, and I'm very excited tonight to be able to tell you all about the positive impact that they've had on the community. In 2011, the City of Jefferson residents produced over 30.4 million pounds of waste. That's enough waste to fill a football stadium over 150 times. So how do we keep all of this waste from going into the landfill? We offer them a variety of convenient and easy-to-use recycling programs. Glass recycling, household hazardous waste, and the recycling trailers were new programs for 2011. We also tried to be more proactive in holding one-day events for things such as e-waste, which are a little more difficult to get rid of. The yard waste site is a free drop-off site to residents of the city. And each resident also has available to them the option to single stream. And this program accepts a longer list of recyclables than any other program. And then we offer drop-off recycling around the city also. The expansion of the glass recycling program and the purchase of the recycling trailers were two programs that were funded 100% by grants received from the Mid-Missouri Solid Waste Management District, and these funds totaled over $25,000. And because of these programs, we were able to divert 13.8 million pounds of that waste. So the combination of these programs provided the city with a diversion rate of 45.6%. And the one specific program that has the largest impact on this number is the single stream program. This is the one program that everybody has access to, and it's the most convenient and easy to use, and it itself has a diversion rate of 24%. And we feel that this number could be a lot greater if we spent more time educating the residents on how they should use this program and why it's important to use, and to encourage them that not only does recycling reduce the usage of our natural resources, but it also is important because it creates and keeps jobs in our community, and it has the potential to generate revenue, which some of our recycling programs did generate revenue in 2011. They helped to generate over $8,000. We do have many future goals for our programs. We want to explore ways to reduce some of the costs of the programs. We want to find more grant opportunities to fund additional programs. We want to pursue more activities that help to generate revenue. We want to increase diversion rates through education, outreach, and awareness, and becoming more involved with our community. We want to help find more recycling services for items that are hard to recycle, such as tires and styrofoam. We want to place more recycling containers in underserved areas, and in an effort to lead by example, this month we are going to begin single stream recycling here in City Hall. We currently only offer aluminum cans and white office paper recycling. So on February 20th, we are going to start recycling plastic bottles, yogurt cups, everything that's taken at the curb we'll be able to recycle here in City Hall also. And so we are all the driving factors behind the success of these programs. We have a community that's willing and ready to embrace recycling and sustainability, and by providing them with the tools to do so, we hope to get more people than ever involved in making Jefferson City a more sustainable place to live, work, and play. So.
Is that it?
Yep.
Any questions for Lauren tonight? Carrie?
Lauren, if people want to see what they can put in the bins to make them recycle more that they may not know, where can they go? It's on the city's website.
It is on the city's website, jeffcitymo.org, and then there's a link under Planning and Protective Services to recycling, and you can get a full list there of what you can put in your container.
Thank you.
All right, Carrie, follow up?
One more follow-up too. Lauren, I know I've worked closely with you on a couple of these things like the recycling trailers, and those are things we'd kind of looked at for years. And when you came on board, you were able to get the grant and help us. I know with your effort, those things happened directly because of the work you did in getting those grants. So I appreciate you taking the time and effort to make some of those things happen in our community because they have a really big impact. So thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Lauren this evening? Robert?
Do we have any kind of an idea of what the trend line is on the recycling? In other words, 25% or so diversion rate. Do we know how much that's increased? Is there an upward trend line? Is that?
It's stayed pretty steady since it began in 2009. It was
So the
24%.
people who started recycling initially are the ones that are continuing to recycle, and we're apparently not adding a lot or not really changing a lot.
Yeah, it hasn't really changed much, but with education and letting them know how important it is to use these services, we think that the diversion rate will go up a lot.
'Cause I know personally, I don't know how I would put a percentage on it necessarily, but my my usage is probably just a flip-flop. It's probably 75% recycled, 25%, if it's even that high in the other bin. I mean, I sometimes go 2 or 3 weeks without even taking that to the curb unless it starts to smell or something. But it's almost everything's recyclable, it seems like. So somehow we need to get that number up, I guess.
Lauren, I have a question. I talked to Nathan about this the other day. As far as like in an office environment or a business environment, I know at our business we have a tendency to accidentally throw a lot of this kind of paper away. What programs are out there or what could be coming out there as far as those are concerned?
For example, there is federal recycling here in town, and I've heard of them offering businesses, if they'll collect their own water bottles and things like that and set them outside after they have 12 bags or so, they'll swing by there and they'll pick them up for them for free. So there are many places that'll do free services like that if you just ask.
Okay. Someday could that be part of our service, you think, if we were able to get a grant by chance?
I'd say so.
Okay, great. Hey, I want to thank you for your passion and your leadership. You're doing a great job. Any other comments or questions for Lauren? Bob?
And this is not meant as a criticism, but I guess I'm a little surprised that the city is just now starting single stream. What is it about single stream for the office that made that, that delayed us doing that? Because the same problems that we're facing in doing that are the problems that other businesses are facing. So how are we overcoming that? What are we going to do that it's going to make it possible for us to do that? Because this can be kind of like a pilot program for other businesses to do the same thing.
Yeah. One of our main, I think, we didn't think about it. We just thought we had white office paper and aluminum cans, and then we had found that we weren't taking bottles, and then I asked Janice if we could recycle bottles, and she said, well, why don't we just do single stream? And, oh, yeah, we can do that here. Because in an office setting, you think office paper and nothing else. You don't realize everything you use every day but you throw away that can actually be recycled. So it was just kind of like a light bulb going off kind of thing.
So are we going to have like multiple containers on more than one floor, or is that how are we going to do this?
Each employee already has a blue container under their desk where they can put white office paper. So in addition to the white office paper, they can put their junk mail, their bottles, everything can go right under their desk. Collection's going to be the same as what it was, and Allied's going to provide us with some bins, and we'll set them outside on Tuesday mornings, and they'll come by and pick them up.
Great. We really need to publicize this and make this a pilot for other businesses that want to try to do the same thing. Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next up on the agenda, Dr. Pope.